I miss that music when we're not.
I was going to say, I'm impressed that it started the first time this time because that's never happened. It always messes up.
No technical difficulties.
Woo, exciting.
Oh my gosh.
It's a new chapter for us over here.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'll have to crack open this.
Yeah, me too. What are you drinking? It's a beautiful sound.
It's from Blake's Hard Cider.
Hey.
It's called Peach Party, which is going to play into my story. It's peach and blackberry. It says from our backyard since 1946, peach and love, gluten-free. Anyways, it says it's sweet peach and bold blackberry, 6.5% alcohol.
Oh my god!
I'm very excited. I was trying to see where Blake's brewery is from, but I don't see. I don't see. Anyways, it says it's made with real fruit.
I don't know. I can't read. So these little letters.
Well, no, normally it's like, oh, we're from Colorado or
so and so. It's probably on the side somewhere. All right. So
who
it's
knows?
from Blake.
It's super good. It's from Blake's Hard Cider. I said it's super good. I haven't even tasted it yet, but it looks good. I'm a big fan of blackberry, and the can art is pretty cool. I took pictures. Anyways, what are you drinking over there?
I am drinking a Baroni.
Oh.
I know. So Jason went to Utah for a work thing. Logan, Utah. Who goes to Logan, Utah?
Who goes to Utah?
I don't know. If you're from Utah.
I mean, I say that I have family there.
No,
so
I know you do.
That.
Yeah, you do. You go to Utah. What are you talking about? I've been to Utah many times. I've always had a great time. This is from, though, it is Illuminated Brew Works. So this is actually out of Chicago. Yeah, so Jason was kind of bummed out. He didn't look to see where it was from. He thought he was getting a Utah beer. So he's a little upset, but it's a double dry hopped double India Pale Ale. So, Jesus, I didn't even look to see what the... Oh, it's 7.5%. So I beat you. So it says, ponies are cool. They can fly and make magic and have the prettiest tails. But people have hands. Ponies don't. With hands, people can drink beer, usually, like this beer here. This beer is for bronies, not phonies. And then it says, so the hops swim together in notes of citrus, strawberry, and orchard fruits. You can even share it with your pony brony, but you'll probably have to help it drink it because ponies don't have hands. And it's got a brony with a sweater vest that says "I love ponies" on it. And it just looks like My Little Pony.
So great.
It's so cute.
There's so much happening on that can. I love it.
Beefcakes are bronies too, it says. I love it so much.
Blake's Hard Cider's from Michigan.
There you go.
And they actually grow their own apples and then press them and then create them all on this. Like they have a picture on their website that shows like apples, press, cider. And they have a tap room. Oh,
that sounded nice.
I did.
Okay. So it tastes good? Did you taste it?
It's great. It's
all
amazing. Right. I'm almost halfway through on my first 2 sips. I love it.
Hey, the brownie's not bad. The brownie is not bad. Oh, it's a big can. We'll see.
It's not your story. So
we're going to have fun tonight.
Guys, I know this is totally unrelated to true crime, but I'm looking at their, I've had their triple jam before. I think you've got, that's when they have the berries that were cars.
Yep,
those
in
were
the cars.
So good. Mm-hmm. But I'm looking at their list of ciders and God, I just want to go like to their place.
Well, every time I see a Blake's, I grab it. So I just want you to be able to try them all.
They have a Black Phillip one. That's blood orange and cranberry.
Stop.
So that is true crime.
That's like from like our beginning days.
I still have Black Phillip. He just doesn't travel.
He doesn't travel. Have Black Phillip, won't travel. For those of you who listened to our first season, you will know Black Phillip. That's like going way back. The OGs.
He's also on our Instagram. He's on some pictures of different breweries in Houston. He used to travel.
He used to travel. Doesn't travel anymore.
Black Phillip 2.0 does not travel. He had to be replaced.
That's why he does not travel.
Anyways, he's a goat, guys, from a movie. That's why he's called Black Phillip.
Yeah, he's a goat.
He's great.
He's black. Okay, so
anyways.
what? Yeah, get off the internet.
I'm so excited about these ciders. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm just gonna dive in.
All right, Brony.
Okay. You ready?
I guess. Let's do this.
Trigger warning: there's lots of murder. I say there's lots of murder. There's 2 murders, but it's graphic. Anyways.
Wait, so Is that the only trigger warning?
Yeah.
Okay.
No children were harmed.
Amazing.
That makes you feel better.
Well, no. I mean, we've just done a few. Just got to warn people. Shit.
Yeah. No.
My story is going to include kids.
No
Apologies.
SA and no children.
No sexual assault and no children. Yeah. Great.
Okay.
Great. Cheers, my dear.
Here's to murder.
Here's
of adults.
Dude, I've been watching K-dramas and like different, totally interrupting your story right now. But there's a great little docu-series that I'm totally going to do one episode on. Yeah. But it's about Korean cults, very specifically like South Korean cults. Fascinating. Like, what? Like, you know, American cults aren't so different, but you know, it's very, very interesting.
That is interesting.
Anyway, I digressed. Sorry.
Okay, so I'm going to just
go.
Go for it. Tyler Hadley was born December 16th, 1993. And these young children are so dumb.
Wait, what? So this is super recent.
He was born 1993, and then we'll talk about when he committed these. He committed the crimes in the 2000s.
Wow. That just seems like so recent, but I know it wasn't.
He was born in the 1900s. Like as children like to point out to me when I speak at the high school. He was like, you were born in the 1900s? It's so crazy. I'm like, it's 1986. Calm down. But anyways.
You should meet my co-host.
She was born in the 1800s, guys. I'm just kidding.
She was born in the 1970s. What?
Oh, Tyler Hadley was born December 16th, 1993. He was premature and weighed only 3 pounds and 10 ounces, which required a month-long stay in an incubator. Wow. And because he was premature, he was real skinny. He had a lot of... his mother and doctors would try to like inject him with like hormones and steroids. And so some of that they think played into his behavior later on because he was so small. Like they were trying to get him, you know. They did hormones at steroids. That age? When he was a young child, not necessarily a baby like right out of the
Okay.
But family members have used...
So that sounds like he wasn't producing those.
Yeah, he was like a real... Like, because he had a lot of issues from being premature. He had a lot of health issues, mental health, body image issues, stuff like that. Because he was a smaller person. So family members have used all of these words to describe him as a young boy, loving but withdrawn, keeping to himself, and suffering from anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, and he suffered from bulimia which is unusual because normally you hear about females having bulimia, but he had just severe body image issues because...
Was he overweight?
He wasn't really overweight, but people, like kids are mean. They just made fun of him because of his size, which actually, I mean, he was small. Like, he was not big. But yeah, he suffered from bulimia.
Wow. Did he have, like, a feminine build?
He was just lanky. Just
super thin?
Super thin. Wow. Kind of tall, but thin. And so...
Oh, poor kid.
Anyways, he often quit sports, hobbies, projects. When he would try to learn something, he would quit and... He would say that he wasn't good enough and always felt like he was a step below everyone else.
Oh, jeez. I feel for him.
Well, you won't for long. By age 10, professionals were treating him with various medications for everything from his acne to his depression, growth hormones to treating a thyroid condition.
Wow.
By age 11 to 13, he had become a troublemaker. He claimed to have defaced public bathrooms with Sharpies, shoe painted people's cars, would break out people's windows, like steal things from their yards.
Wow.
He stole people's Christmas lights. He would go into the woods and set a small fire and then watch it burn down entire woods, like the whole woods. Like just him and his friends thought it was funny. They would light couches, like old couches, and just watch the woods go up into flames. And so he's only 13 at this time, like 11, 12, 13.
Isn't arson a sign of someone who would become a serial killer?
I don't know if it's a serial, but it's definitely a red flag of like maybe there's mental health issues that aren't being addressed at this time.
Okay.
So then he begins self-medicating, which we all know is never good. We've all done it. Most of us are still doing it. But he started self-medicating by getting drunk at age 12.
Stop staring at me.
Smoking pot at age 15. Taking pills like Xanax, Percocet, and Oxy. Ecstasy and DMT by age 16. Now, I don't know if you guys know what DMT is, but that's a heavy drug. Like,
that deserves like heaven.
Yeah.
So wait, how do you get DMT?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't do it.
I mean, I know.
Chance.
Just like.
I mean, you just buy it from I don't know how you get it.
Like, what is it?
So basically, when you take it, it's similar to like the effects of kind of like acid, like you hallucinate. It's kind of like an out-of-body experience. It's very similar to, they say it's similar to mushrooms, but like it's supposed to take you like a very, very, very intense visual hallucinations. Like a lot of people say like their life flashes before their eyes so they can kind of see like what death feels like. And it's just a very powerful psychedelic drug. It distorts all of your senses. It kicks in within minutes, but the effects are very short-lived.
Oh no.
It says, okay, so I looked up how do you get it, and it occurs naturally in plants and animals. So it comes from basically a plant.
But it's DMT, so it's a pharmaceutical, or is it like?
God, you're gonna make me pronounce this.
No.
Dimethylatriphamine.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope,
Anyway,
I did not make you pronounce that. You totally did that on your own. Okay, so.
But it's very similar to acid, shrooms, all mixed together. Very intense high, very intense visuals. Out of body experiences. It hits you really quickly and it doesn't last very long. It's very dangerous. A lot of people, I'm shocked that a 16-year-old.
I'm shocked. I mean, we had a lot of kids doing drugs in high school, but it was like weed and acid.
We did a lot of dumb things when we were teenagers. Doing
but...
drugs that made us feel like we were dying, and seeing death was not one of them. But anyways.
I know. Why would you want to? Why? Okay.
I don't know. So he was doing all of that at 16. How he was getting all of these things at 16, I don't know. Tyler's parents, however, tried to do everything they could for him, which is unusual because a lot of the stories we do about murderers and troubled teens, their parents are trash. They're pieces of crap. They don't take care of them. They ignore them. They're abusive. They've got their own drug and alcohol problems. But his parents were nothing like that. His parents loved him. They cared about him. They tried to get him treatment. They tried to get him help. They tried to be understanding. They tried counseling, medications, therapy. Like they were, by all accounts, great parents, great people in general. They did not write this off as being a phase. Like they recognized he had mental health issues. They recognized he needed help and they tried to help him. So it's really important to remember that they were great parents and they really tried to help him.
Was there hospitalization or what? I guess institutionalization.
They sent him to a mental health clinic.
For outpatient therapy kind of a thing?
Well,
okay.
They did that, and then they did an inpatient thing. And the inpatient one, when he got back, they took his phone, and that really pissed him off. Which leads me to age 17, where he becomes a murderer. So we go from lighting fires in the woods to doing hard drugs to now 17.
Do we know what he was diagnosed with? So like, did he have
depression,
oppositional defiance disorder?
It was mostly depression and bulimia. Those were the two things they diagnosed him with. Like severe depression.
Like ODD a little bit. Okay, go ahead. Sorry. I'm sorry. I have so many questions.
Okay. He was attending Port Saint High School when he killed his parents in their Northeast Granger Avenue home with the claw end of a hammer in 2011.
Oh my gosh.
Tyler said...
They loved him.
This next part's really rough. Tyler said he approached his mother first as she was using the family computer. You know, back in the day, we all had those family computers like in the kitchen or living room or whatever. Kids these days wouldn't know what we're talking about.
Oh,
but
we are doing that.
right.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like it was in a family room. Everyone could use it.
100%.
So he said he waited for 5 minutes standing behind her and just watching her work on the computer before striking her in the back of her head with the hammer.
5 minutes?
Just stood there watching her, thinking about it. She knew he was there, but she thought he was just like, you know, watching what she was doing.
Oh my God.
So she begins screaming. His father runs into the room. When his father bursts into the room, upon hearing, you know, her panic, her crying, him and Tyler lock eyes, and Tyler starts beating his father with a hammer, and his father says, "Why? Why?" And Tyler looks him dead in the eye.
Did Tyler say all this? He said this?
He admits to everything. He's proud of what he did. We'll get to that in a bit. But so his father's saying, "Why? Why?" Tyler looks him dead in the eye and says, "Why the fuck not?" And continues to scream, "Why the fuck not?" as he beat him with the hammer. Later, when Tyler was in jail, he was talking to a fellow inmate when he confessed that when he did this, he knew that his parents loved him because his dad didn't immediately attack him or try to stop him. He just asked him why he was doing it, to which the inmate asked, "Then why did you keep going?" And Tyler said, "I had to finish what I started." So, once he killed both of his parents.
This is like, I can't even look at you right now.
Once he killed both of his parents, he wrapped their heads in towels and dragged them to their master bedroom, where he laid them side by side face down and left the claw hammer on the floor between them. He moved all of the evidence of the murder into the master bedroom and was just like piling shit on top of his parents. Chairs, towels, random shit. Like anything he used to clean up, he just piled it on top of them. So, sadly, 2 weeks before the murder, Mary-Jo, which was his mother, was telling friends that Tyler was over the hurdle and she really felt he was back to himself. People had said that Tyler and his mom were actually really close. He would often still sit on her lap, not like in a weird way, but like a motherly son type loving thing. They said that because he had so many health issues as a baby, that she like just made her feel closer to him than to his older brother. Like, because she spent so much time taking care of him because he had all of these health issues as a baby.
He had an older brother.
Who was not living there. His older brother was
in college,
like North Carolina, because he was getting married. Like he was older.
Oh, his poor brother.
She did not know that when she was saying these things, that her son was now making apparent threats to kill her to his friends on Facebook. So he was on Facebook Messenger.
Oh, I was going to say, like, on its timeline, and nobody flagged it?
Oh, he did post on his timeline. I was going to try to pull up the Facebook messages real quick. But he would...
So he was posting... So 2 weeks before the murder, he was telling friends on social media that this was like his plan.
He was gonna kill his parents. Okay, here this is between Tyler and a girl named Mercedes. This is shortly before the murders. Okay. Tyler says, "LOL, yep, she's a cunt for sure. I might kill her," talking about his mom. To which she says, "Oh my God, no jail, or I mean prison, LOL." He says, "Oh well," and then put a heart. And then the next morning...
Oh well.
Yeah.
Wow.
At 9:40 on the morning of the murder, a friend of his sent him a message and said, "Did you do it?" And Tyler at this time said, "No, but I'm gonna." And his friend said, "Bet." He said, "You really should now do it." And I think he meant not do it, but it says now do it. Tyler said, "Don't worry, I am. Then I'm having a party." And Matt, the guy, said, "Yeah, party time," and then said a word that I'm not going to say, but it starts with an N. I think we all know what word I mean. So these are the people that are his friends. So then there's another...
Are they complicit?
Well, we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
So
I'm not thinking about legally, like, they fucking knew, didn't say anything, so are they complicit?
Yeah,
That's
so
my
like
question.
2 weeks before the murder, Tyler had gone to jail and he was on house arrest, and his mother took his phone away from him. And that like set off this other chain of messages where he messages someone and says, don't talk to me about drugs, which the person, which is named Isadora, says, what happened? Tyler said, my mom has it because I got arrested on Monday and she's flipping shit. I just got out today. Like, don't text me because my mom has my phone, basically.
Yeah.
So the friend says, oh shit. And Tyler says, fucking sucks. And his friend says, you bad kid. And Tyler said, just kidding. It's a pirate life for me, which confused his friend because he's like, what the fuck? And so then Tyler says, okay, I'm done with the nautical nonsense, Ladora Gasho. And Isadora says, you're so silly. What are you doing? And Tyler responds, nothing.
I like that Isadora's voice is like,
because that's how I feel. Like, if you see the way they're typing, it's just like,
right.
Tyler was like, nothing, considering suicide, all casual. Oh, no, nothing. Just thinking about suicide at 10 a.m. today. And Isadora says, why? And Tyler says, because I want to die, I guess. So these are just a few examples. There are so many other text exchanges with him and these people. Anyways, so...
I can't believe that's for public view. Damn.
It goes to point out how... when I said these kids are absolute fucking trash, wait until you hear what they say in interviews after they find out all of this has happened. So...
Can I just keep my kids in my house and we just hang out, all of us? No, I can't.
So again,
I can't do
obviously he was on Facebook Messenger talking about killing his parents, how they annoyed him, how angry he was. But everyone thought, oh, that's just Tyler being crazy. He's not really going to do it. Side note.
Were they talking amongst themselves that they didn't believe that Tyler was going to do that?
They said later on they didn't think.
Oh.
They just thought he was being... Because he said that they said he talked about it all the time. So, like, they just thought he was just mad. Oh, it gets worse. So Mary-Jo blamed herself a lot for Tyler's depression, saying she had mental health issues of her own and that she felt she had passed those on to him, and then also felt like maybe the hormonal treatments and the steroids at such a young age were not the best, but she was acting on the advice of a doctor. So she blamed herself a lot for his mental health issues. So anyways, Tyler spent 3 hours cleaning up the blood, and in later interviews would tell detectives he was surprised at how long it takes to clean up a crime scene. After cleaning up the house, he then went to an ATM and used his parents' card to withdraw $5,000. He then went and picked up some people and went back to his house and threw a party while their dead bodies were still in the bedroom. The hammer's still there. He posted about the party online and invited around 100 people, many of whom did not even know who Tyler was. Like, he was just posting on his Facebook, like telling anybody and everybody who wanted to come to his house they could. Although he did not provide any specific details, when people asked where his parents were, he claimed his parents were out of town and would be away for some time. And according to a Rolling Stones article, those who knew Tyler were like very suspicious and surprised his parents gave him permission to throw this party. They were also somewhat suspicious as Tyler had never thrown a party before, and it just seemed super out of character for him because he primarily kept to himself. He was very introverted. So at 1:15 on July 16th, Tyler posted a status on Facebook, "Party at my crib tonight, ... maybe." When one person asked if it was really happening, he wrote back, "Don't know, man, I'm working on it." Okay, he had not committed the murders at this point. Same day, but he hadn't committed them yet. But by 8:15, the party was on. Tyler posted again to his wall to confirm, "Party at my house, hit me up." When one of his friends asked, "What if your parents come home?" he said, "They won't, trust me." Nobody questioned it. At around 11 p.m. the same day, same night, people began arriving to the party. Several party attenders noted that Tyler seemed to be somewhat anxious, nervous. He asked them to refrain from smoking inside the house as his parents would be upset if the house smelled like smoke. His mental state is just out of this world. It's so crazy. And I mean, like, when I say crazy, I just mean the back and forth, because as I go through the story, parts of it seem like he's not all there, and then parts of it like he's very aware and very proud of what he did. It goes back and forth. So anyways, at this point, he's telling people don't smoke. My parents will get mad. But as more people arrived, the party began to get out of control. There were about 60 people. They were all teenagers except for one golden, 21-year-old. There's always like that token 21-year-old at teenage parties behind the beer, and fucking gross.
Who's creeping on the young girls.
Well, he had a girlfriend that was there.
Ew. Underage, I bet.
There were about 60 people at the party, playing beer pong, smoking cigarettes, and drinking. Party guests began to raid the cupboards. They spilled food. They spilled drinks. And despite Tyler's warning, they were smoking inside the house and tossing their cigarette butts on the floor. And at some point during the night, Tyler had his guests asked him to stay inside the house so they wouldn't draw the neighbors' attention. They started to run out of beer. So the 21-year-old and his girlfriend and Tyler drove to the store to get more beer. And when the 21-year-old went into the store, Tyler's in the car with the girlfriend, and he flat out says, "My father's dead. My father died." And she's like, "Oh, what do you mean?" And he's like, "My father died." And she thought like, 'cause she didn't know him at all. So she thought he was just still kind of grieving. She thought that he had died, of a normal thing. She didn't think this kid is confessing murder to me.
He didn't say, "My father's dead in the room upstairs."
Right. He just said, "My father died." And she was like, that's weird. But again, she didn't know him. She just went because her boyfriend was going. So she just thought, this kid's fucking weird. And he's grieving in a weird way. Excuse me. Anyways, so friends described Tyler as being in a good mood and hospitable later on during the party. One friend even said that Tyler told them he was going to throw a second party the very next night. When some of the guests started asking where his parents were, he gave them several different answers. He told one of the guests that they were in Georgia. He told another that they were in Orlando.
Georgia Peach.
Peach party. It all ties together. He later told another guest that his parents, they actually moved out and just left me the house. This is my house now. One guest, 17-year-old Jose Arazo, joked to a group of kids that, he probably killed his parents. To which the group of kids laughed and said, "That's absurd." Little did they know. Also, can I just say that I've never been to a party in my teenage years or otherwise where people are joking that the host murdered their parents and then
never
laughed about it, ha ha ha, and then decided to stay and keep partying. That's so weird, I guess. I mean, I was in a lot of crazy situations as a teenager, and never once was it to celebrate a murder. I just feel like there's so many red flags and so many things that these kids are just oblivious to. I don't know if they're just oblivious because they wanted to party and this was their excuse, if they're really just horrible.
No, I think that part. I think
people.
I think that they're really thinking that's absurd, and we're just here having a good time. Who is going to kill their parents?
But at this point,
that doesn't happen here.
They are trashing this house. Okay, the only room that's off limits is, of course, the room that the parents are in. Anytime someone would get close to the master bedroom, Tyler would cut them off, jump in, start screaming, "You're not allowed in there. That's my parents' room. You're not allowed in there." Okay. But they trashed his brother's room. They were trashing the living room. Everything was just, these kids were out of control. So one of the people from the party interviewed after the fact was a kid named Mike Young. He said when he arrived at the party, Tyler opened the door and it was very obvious that he was rolling. He was on drugs. His pupils were giant.
On ecstasy?
Ecstasy. He said that his jaw was clenched. He was rubbing his hands together. It was very clear.
Couldn't focus on shit.
And can you just, for a moment, imagine like killing your parents and then taking ecstasy. Like, I don't know if you've ever done ecstasy. I don't know if anyone's listening ever done ecstasy, but like, it's kind of like alcohol. Like, whatever your mind frame is when you take it is what it translates to when you're on it, right? And so, like, I cannot, your mind is supposed to be happy. You're supposed to be energetic, like, feel good. I cannot imagine committing double murder of my parents, then dropping some ecstasy or popping some ecstasy, excuse me, and then just throwing a party. Like, it's so weird to me.
Like
I don't know how
the hallucinations you would have would be.
I feel like I'd be balled up in a corner crying because my mind would be like, you just murdered two people, and then I could see their spirits roaming around.
And it's like a truth serum. You would just be like,
right.
Hey, you know what I just did?
Funny story. Anyways, Mike went on to say that as soon as he walked into the house, he could see the disarray, the complete destruction. He described it as complete destruction of this house.
Wow.
Did this make him decide to turn around and immediately leave?
Was this a friend? Was this a friend?
He knew him. He was like a jock at the school. He had played sports. But yeah, fuck no. This didn't make him leave. He stayed because this is high school and teenagers are dumb. And he said he was sitting on the couch with some other party goers at one point, and someone comes over and says, I smell dead people. What in the actual fuck?
In just a few hours? How's that possible?
It's Florida. It's humid. It's hot. They're decomposing.
True.
They've been there for
true.
hours. There's like, we'll talk about it later, but there's like evidence all over this house of the crime scene that they just claimed they didn't see.
I mean, is there blood spatter? Everywhere.
But Mike was like, what does that even mean? And the kid said, I don't know, man. Maybe someone is just smoking marijuana.
I smell dead people.
Okay, but when have you ever smoked pot and it smelled like dead people?
I mean, skunks.
But dead people? And how do you know what dead people smell like? Like, how often are you around dead people to know that that is what you're smelling?
They might have family that work in a mortuary.
Okay, well, if I ever smoked weed and it smelled like dead people, I don't know that I would ever do another drug.
Yeah.
I would just be like, I'm done, I'm out. But apparently this kid said it several times throughout the night. But again, these teenagers were just partying. They were like, dude, you're weird. Shut up.
The smell of dead people is something you never forget. So he might have smelled it before.
Multiple people said it smelled like dead people throughout the night. But again, everyone just kept partying. Like, nobody questioned Tyler. No one looked around the house. No one called the cops. No one left the party. Like, they're all just drinking, smoking, playing games, like hanging out, causing chaos, fucking up the house. Teenagers are dumb, man. I mean, I was a teenager. I was dumb, but I was never this dumb. So on another occasion, Tyler pulled Mark, the one that was 21, that, took him to the gas station and confessed to killing his parents.
Did they know each other before this night?
I'm assuming.
Okay.
And Mark said to him, dude, you killing someone is your business and don't tell me anything about it. Don't tell me anything else. He's like, yeah, that's your business, dude. I don't want to know about it. And that was that. Shortly after that, Mark and his girlfriend did decide to leave, but not because of that, but just because they were running out of beer and they were just tired, and it was like 3 a.m. at this point.
This is damn.
So Tyler runs into 18-year-old Ricardo, who had only met him for the first time at this party. So this is their very first encounter, first time speaking this entire night, okay? Ricardo thanks him for the party invite, telling him it was a fun party. He was just trying to be very polite. Tyler, in return, says, yeah, I just wanted to do something nice before I go away. And Ricardo says, again, being polite,
Where are you
going? To which Tyler said, I'm going to kill myself. As one would, Ricardo asked why he would do that, and Tyler responded, because I did something really bad. Okay, so Ricardo, who I have to say is like, I don't know that I could have kept that conversation going. If that's the icebreaker to the first time I meet someone, after drinking and doing drugs and like looking around, like, I don't know what I would have done. I don't know that I could have kept it together. like someone you've never met, that you've been at their house all night, drinking, doing drugs, partying. He's on drugs. And their first thing they ever say to you is, I'm going to kill myself. Like, what do you do? And then Ricardo says, what did you do? It can't be that bad. And Tyler said, don't worry. If I get caught, I will be in jail for a long time. And then Ricardo just leaves. As the party continued into the early hours of July 17th, so this party's been going on since 8 p.m. July 16th. It is now early hours July 17th. An estimated 100 people were already inside this house, with even more arriving.
Oh my gosh.
Around 1 a.m. Where are these people parking? Anyways, around 1 a.m.
Why are they
not in bed?
And why aren't people calling the police saying, like, there's a party going on in a house
Where
that never
are the
has
parents
parties?
of 100 teenagers at 2 a.m? Like, I don't know. Anyways, Tyler pulled his best friend Michael Mandel, who was 17 at the time, aside. Tyler told his best friend about the murders. Michael and Tyler had been best friends since they were very young children. Michael had said that when he was younger, he was just kind of wandering around the neighborhood looking for friends, and he had met Tyler, and he had become very close to him, very close to Tyler's parents. Like, he thought of them as family. Michael had noticed blood by the family computer desk and by the master bedroom, but initially did not believe Tyler was telling the truth. A lot of people thought that the brown spots and stuff were like Coke spilled around, but again, when we talk about the crime scene later, it's like, what? So Michael says, I actually thought he went that far out to play a prank on me, that he actually put fake blood on the ground. Anything but what it is, like, he just thought it was really, he didn't want to believe that his best friend from childhood murdered his parents through a party and now is confessing to him.
Are there photos
of the crime scene?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
He says, Mike, I killed my parents. And I said, no, you didn't, Tyler. Shut up. What are you talking about? And he said, Mike, look at the driveway. All the cars are there. My parents aren't in Orlando. I killed my parents. Look for all the signs around the house that you have missed. Michael began to get very concerned and was like, holy shit, this story's true. Like, he must have killed his parents.
All of a sudden, the spots start to become clear, and the things that he saw that were like, didn't make sense or making sense.
Just as a reminder, this is the fourth person in the night that he's confessed this murder to. He told Tyler...
Still rolling on ecstasy.
Yeah.
Unless he has EDS and it's out of his system.
So he told Tyler that he wanted to see the bodies if they were really dead. Again, thinking that Tyler could not really have murdered them.
He said that?
Wow. He really didn't believe Tyler. He thought that Tyler was just... He did not want to believe Tyler did this. So he's like, okay, man, if you killed him, show me the body. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be like if I told you I killed someone and be like, yeah, right.
Well,
anyways, so Tyler told him that once the party slowed down, that he would show him. Tyler told him that he took both of his parents' cell phones in advance and hid them so they could not call for help. He then took 3 ecstasy pills and got the claw hammer out of the garage. At this point, Michael went on his own to the master bedroom because he was like, fuck this. I have to know if he's telling the truth. And he cracked open the door and he saw Blake, which is the father's leg, against the door. When he asked Tyler why, Tyler said he did it because, and I quote, a combination of rap music, constant fights with his parents, and the fact that they had financial problems. Which the financial problems was not true, and he was the only one fighting with his parents. They were not fighting with him. He was upset that they took his phone and wouldn't let him have a party. When he was interviewed in the aftermath of the killings, Michael said, he asked me to stay there until after everyone left to see them, and I didn't want to. I had opened the door, I saw the bloody sheets piled everywhere, I saw broken pictures with blood on them, and I looked down and I saw his dad's leg there. He went on and said that Tyler had told him that the devil had possessed him and said if he was caught, he was going to commit suicide by taking a bunch of Percocets that he had hidden in his room. I feel like this kid that I've known all of my life, I don't know him anymore. His family was my family, Michael said. They were very good people. I really don't see any motive here besides drugs. He took 3 ecstasy pills before he did this. He said he couldn't do it sober. Michael did stay at the party for like another hour and even took a selfie with Tyler, which he got a lot of criticism for. And he said later that he was interviewed, like that's the number one thing that he gets interviewed about. And he said he knew that it was the last time he was going to see his friend. He said, when I took the picture, I'd already seen the bodies. I knew I was going to call the cops on him when I took that picture. He's like, this was the last time I was going to hang out with my best friend. On one hand, I can understand, like, this is your best friend for like 8-9 years, inseparable. He's just confessed this horrible crime. This is the last time, because you know that you're going to report him. You're going to be the reason. I mean, you're not the reason, right? But you're the reason the cops will be coming.
I don't think he should receive criticism, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like he was dealing with the grief of losing a friend, and that's like, I mean...
And honestly, in the back of my mind, I'd be like, he killed his parents. What would he do to me if he thought that I was leaving to
There's
kill the police?
probably some fear. He was probably like, sure, dude, let's take a selfie. And I'm sure it was like
And they look miserable in the selfie. Both of them do. Anyway, so if you saw the crime scene photos of the house, which I will post, but it's really, really bizarre to me that no one noticed. There's blood splatter on the walls, pools of blood on the baseboards, blood on the bedroom door that he wouldn't let anyone into, blood splatter on the ceiling. There were bloody footprints in the garage. And it was clearly blood splatter. I mean, it was all over the ceiling. Like, from, when you swing back and, I mean, it's just everywhere. And so, I find it strange that not one person was like, this is really strange. Why can't we go in that room? Why are there like hundreds of teenagers here at 3 a.m? Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I would do if I was in this situation. I really don't know. So I guess I can't judge them, but I just find it strange because I've seen the crime scene photos and I don't understand how, as a teenager, you don't know that was blood. Especially when he's been joking about killing his parents for months. So in the early hours of that morning, July 17th, Michael left the party and, Tyler had called him and asked where he was. And he said, oh man, I'm just tired. I'm going to go home. And Tyler said, okay, well, I'm having a party tomorrow night too. So come back, So 40 minutes after Michael leaves the house, he calls Crime Stoppers and tells them everything. So he gets home. He just tells them everything that Tyler had told him throughout the party. There was another kid at the party who had that Tyler had told everything to and had also shown him all the stuff. And he, too, called Crime Stoppers when he left the party.
Would you call Crime Stoppers or would you call 911?
Well, I think they called Crime Stoppers because they would remain anonymous. You know what I mean?
Oh, I guess I didn't even think about that.
And at the time, they probably were just... And when you're a teenager, they're push Crime Stoppers. And at least in my high school, they constantly push Crime Stoppers.
Because it's anonymous.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So there were some people who did the right thing at this party. The cops show back up, and Tyler was arrested at 4:40 a.m. Police rushed to the Hadley house. When they arrived, the police could see through the window. There were broken bottles everywhere, just the chaos of the party. They could see Tyler pacing back and forth. He was talking to himself. He just seemed very agitated, just showing really strange behavior. They knock on the door, and Tyler immediately turned all of the lights off. There was no one else from the party left at this point. It was just Tyler. He turns lights off. Obviously, they know he's there, so they don't.
There's nobody here.
Tamara's not home. It's finally, he opens the door, and the police ask him if there are any adults home, which is weird because they did not ask him that the first time.
I was just going to say that. Okay.
So Tyler claimed his parents were out of town. He refused to let the police in the house. He told the officers that he knew he'd be going to jail, so they should just go ahead and take him. So at this point, the police were like, what's going on? Like, people don't usually ask us to take them to jail. You know, there's usually like some kind of resistance. So the police were just very confused, and they arrest him and they put him in the driveway, and they have an officer who is supposed to stay there and watch him. As they're about to enter the house, Tyler started screaming over and over, "You can't go in there. Don't go in there." So, I mean, obviously they went in there.
They went in there.
Tyler appeared nervous, frantic, and very talkative while speaking to the officers, according to the arrest affidavit. They also said his pupils were the size of saucers. I'm sure that's an exaggeration, but, you know, they were huge.
Like Robert Durst's black eyes. It's just always black.
The police found beer bottles all over the house, unrolled cigars littered the floor, furniture had been tossed around, but they also found dried blood on the walls. When police forced
and
open
the floor.
Yeah. Well, at this point, they just saw the wall.
Okay.
So when police forced open the bedroom door, they found dining room chairs and a coffee table tossed on the bed. Under the furniture, they discovered the body of Blake Hadley and nearby the body of Mary-Jo. If the police hadn't shown up, Tyler had claimed he was considering taking his life. He had a stash of Percocet pills he had hidden in his room, and those are the ones that Michael had hidden before he left. When interviewing people that had attended the party, this is the absolute trash that came out of their mouths. These are teenagers that were at the party who knew his parents were dead, who knew he killed him, who knew they were pretty much in a house with dead people.
Hold on, like after the news came out.
Yes,
after the news came out. Not like he told a few people at the party, but they didn't believe him.
Well, some people at the party saw the bodies and still just kept partying. So
the fuck.
So these are
Jesus Christ. The kids are in fact not all right. Is what I'm gonna say.
Many of them blamed Tyler's parents, saying they were monsters. One girl said, and I quote, "He was under a lot of pressure, and like his parents would just never really let him be himself. And honestly, I think they caused everything that just happened. His parents always expected him to be something else that he wasn't, and that's not right. Anything Tyler would do, they would just tell him he was wrong for it. He just broke, and honestly, he got crazy because of it. If you have that much hate for someone, you would then actually do something like that too." So she's basically saying if you piss her off, she will kill you. So, like, why is she not being investigated?
Like, I would investigate her. Do the next one as a stoner. Do the next one as a stoner.
I can't.
Yeah, man. He was cool, man.
The other kid blamed drugs, quoting, "We all make mistakes, man." When we were on drugs. So I'm not sure about y'all, but... murder is not my type of mistake. I've never mistakenly killed another human being.
You know what I've done? I've mistakenly eaten an entire pint of ice cream.
Or lost my phone for like 10 minutes or something. I've never killed a person, let alone two, and then thrown a party. This quote is from a 16-year-old cheerleader who showed up at 3:30, and they referred to her as 16-year-old cheerleader. So I don't know what her name is. It's just how they referred to her.
Where are the parents of these people?
Kept saying that. "I wasn't upset when I heard. I was scared. I wasn't scared or disgusted. It's not like I knew them personally."
Oh my God.
Another. Yeah.
No empathy.
Another
Wow.
who was an actual friend of Tyler, because a lot of these people didn't know him or whatever, said, "Wow, I just went to the party of a lifetime. It's messed up what he did, but about 20 years from now, I'll be able to say I was there. I mean, I hate Port St. Lucie, but that's kind of cool." These kids are absolute trash. They were all at this party, drinking, hanging out, learned about these dead bodies, and
Those kids are going to have kids one day.
I hope not.
Yikes.
All these kids could do was focus on the fact that they had partied all night, drank, and done drugs, and they could not grasp the gravity of this situation that was happening around them. So 3 years after his arrest, a court sentenced Tyler to life in prison without the possibility for parole. During court proceedings, it was revealed that Blake and Mary had 36 areas of impact on their bodies after their son's fatal beating. Mary-Jo had several defense wounds, and I'm really sorry, guys. This is going to get real graphic when I'm talking about the attack, but I think it's important so you know that this wasn't like a spur-of-the-moment decision. This was definitely well thought out, and it was very brutal. So she had defense wounds. She had them all over her arms, hands, and wrist, like she was trying, to stop the fight. She had a lot of injuries to her upper torso and head. Her spine was fractured. She had 7 broken ribs. Her left lung had been punctured by her broken ribs. Her left side of her skull was pulverized, a giant gash on her face, and her head had been crushed like an egg. Blake's
Was the cause of death blunt force trauma to the head? Like was that what killed her? Or
I mean, I would assume, because that's he was beating them with like a hammer.
I'm just wondering if it was the lack of like.
It could have been any one of those: punctured lung, broken ribs, fractured spine, crushed head. So Blake's he had so many injuries, so many that they could not all be listed. So they listed the major ones. So these are some of the ones that were listed. A broken nose, a laceration to his forehead, evidence that the round part of the hammer was used on his temple areas.
Oh my God.
Lacerations around inside his ear, a 13-centimeter laceration from his ear to his head. His skull was caved in. His brain was lacerated in several areas and completely encased in blood. 5 lacerations at the base of his skull and at least 12 blows to his head. There was a long cut on his neck, bruising on his chest, lacerations on both shoulders, 11 injuries to his right arm alone. Both of his humerus bones were broken, elbows were lacerated, 12 injuries to his left arm. Both legs had bruises and cuts. His fibula in his left leg was shattered, and at least 12 blows to his legs collectively. The report went to say blunt force trauma injuries of the skin, 65 in total, soft tissue bruising, massive skull fractures, lacerations on the brain, and this is just a shortened report. This murder was uncontrollable. It was very clearly a rage attack. This was not something where he just snapped. Like, this was thought out. This was a very, very vicious attack.
It seems similar to like a stabbing. You have to be close.
Yeah.
When there's 56 stab wounds or 65, you are close.
Yeah.
That is not rage. I mean, that's hate. And it's controlled.
And he had hidden their phones in advance in case the murder went wrong, so they couldn't call for police. So it was a very thought out thing.
He knew. Yeah. And then, I mean, just listening to the list of injuries to his dad, you hope that he didn't do the body stuff first to keep him, that he was not alive, and that he just kind of kept going, until he was tired, I guess. Oh God, those poor people.
So the judge condemned Tyler for a brutal, heinous, and premeditated attack. The first witness to take the stand was Tyler's own brother, Ryan, who was 6 years older than him and again was living in North Carolina at the time.
Forgot he had a brother. Yeah.
He was on the stand for nearly an hour and said he and his brother had a very close relationship growing up. If me and him weren't going somewhere together, we were in my bedroom watching a movie, watching Family Guy, just doing something together. Ryan says his parents were very loving and generous. He testified that as Tyler got older, he began hanging out with just a bad crowd, and he would steal his parents' debit card. He would take his father's truck keys without permission. He said he started sneaking out a lot. He would go out the back door, go out his bedroom window, and sometimes they would catch him, but a lot of times they wouldn't. Ryan said his parents put Tyler in rehab and installed a tracking device on his phone, which he said was what really upset him. So at the end of his testimony, Ryan was asked what he wants to see happen to his brother, and his response was, I guess what I want is for him to get the maximum penalty possible, which I understand is life in prison without the possibility of parole. The state also called Mary-Jo Hadley's niece, who said Tyler looked fine at the dinner they had the night before. So remember, they were at the dinner with the aunt and the nieces, excuse me, and he was just making jokes with his parents. Everything was fine. They said there's nothing off about him. He wasn't angry.
That's scarier.
Yeah. And so according to letters that he wrote to his grandparents, which were published in 2013 in the Rolling Stone, which they did a really good story about this case. So it's going to be in the show notes, but they did a really good job talking about it. Anyways, Tyler said he struggled to come to terms with his actions. I was just living my life as a normal 17-year-old kid, and next thing I know, I'm in the middle of the St. Lucie County Jail. I ruined a lot of people's lives, and I can't seem to forgive myself. I find myself crying a lot because of all the guilt. So, I want you to remember that he claims he feels guilty and he can't come to terms with this because that's going to play a part later on because he's full of shit.
He's so full of shit.
So, in 2018, because of a change in Florida law stating minors cannot be sentenced to life in prison, Tyler was eligible for a retrial. Mike,
I hope it went nowhere.
Mike, who was Blake's brother and Tyler's uncle, testified, telling the court, "We have once again sat through a gut-wrenching horror show, only it was not a movie or a play, it was reality. It was my family, people who we loved. I don't know if he's a psychopath or not. I'm not a doctor, nor am I convinced that any drug or therapy can cut what's going on in his head. Nor do any of these doctors that will testify in this courtroom know without a doubt that he will not kill again." Tyler himself addressed the court expressing sorrow for killing his parents, saying, "Words cannot explain the amount of remorse and sorrow over my actions that have affected so many people," he said, "but most of all my family, who I still care about greatly." He added that he didn't understand the reasons for his actions and that there is no excuse. The judge in the case decided that the original sentence for Tyler was the right one. He upheld the life sentence. The judge rejected all defense arguments raised during Tyler's October hearing that his age, immaturity, and troubled youth marked by anxiety, depression, and drug use influenced his decision to kill. The judge didn't care because he knew that wasn't the cause. While casually talking to his friends about killing his parents a month and a half before the actual crimes, he revealed that he would wait until his brother moved to North Carolina, and wait he did, the judge said. The judge noted that Tyler took his parents' phones and hid them so that if his plan went awry, they couldn't call for help. The judge seemed incensed that after the murders, Tyler hid the bodies, tried to clean up the blood, and then sent out the word that the party was on. The defendant...
He was saying that before he killed them, though. He was just like, I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Like, it was something that...
Yeah.
It was in the works.
And because remember, his friends were like, you should do it now.
Yeah, his friends were saying it, so it was like...
So the defendant displayed perverse premeditation, heartless cruelty, and savagery. Oh my God. Extreme violence, a willingness to mutilate, and absolute depravity, the judge declared. Considering the victims were blood relatives and were killed up close and personally with a handheld tool, it is obvious that the defendant was fueled by a long, simmering, passionate hatred towards those who loved him the most.
Passionate.
The judge said the crimes were not done on impulse, were triggered by any one event, and were carefully planned. Tyler did what he had long wanted to do, the judge concluded. We're happy with the judge's decision. It was the right decision to make, and as far as we're concerned, the only decision, Mike Hadley, the brother of Blake, said. We're very pleased that it's done. We feel like we've gone to another funeral today. I should also mention that when all of this happened initially, Ryan had to go to court after his parents' murder to make sure that Tyler did not receive any of the inheritance because
he could still get it.
He was Ryan had, and then like shortly after, like he was sure that Tyler was not going to get that inheritance. He was told that he was now Tyler's guardian because he was the only living.
Oh, gross.
I was like, if I was Ryan, quite frankly, I would be like, fuck him. Like, I would disown him so fast because, like, how are you going to expect this person to be the guardian?
Yeah, because he's got to make sure he's got money in his commissary.
And he wasn't going to do that shit. Like, he doesn't, you know? So, in jail... Now this, okay, when I said, remember, that he claims he's guilty and can't come to terms with his decision, he cries himself to sleep, blah, blah, blah. In jail, Tyler's choice of murder weapon gave fellow inmates a host of nicknames for him. Ham, Hammer, Hambo, Hadley Hambo, Bam Bam. He reportedly bristled at some of them, but would autograph things for inmates, once signing, and he would say this multiple times, I don't know if you're a fan, but you should be. It's Hammer time. Obviously a reference to MC Hammer's You Can't Touch This. He would introduce himself.
I'm sorry, were you alive when that came out?
Yes, I was, I think. He would introduce himself to new inmates by saying, hey, do you know who I am? I'm Hammer Boy.
Do you know who I am?
I'm Hammer Boy.
My God.
But yet he feels so guilty and cries himself to sleep. Tyler wasn't well behaved in the correctional institution. Surprise, surprise.
I think that sentence makes me bristle no matter who says it. Do you know who I am? I think that is so obnoxious.
Yeah.
Just, I don't care if you've killed somebody or not. If somebody said, like, don't you know who I am? I would just immediately be like, obviously not humble, or like, obviously you think you're bigger than you are.
Yeah.
Because
like, who brags about killing their parents and being named
just
Hammer Boy?
who talks like that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Don't you know? I'm on a podcast. Don't you know who I am? You know what I mean? Like,
but we're actually famous. Anyways,
we're not.
Tyler wasn't well behaved. He smoked pot, was caught with makeshift knives, and refused to participate in disciplinary hearings. The Hammer Time murder attracted national attention, mostly because of the party that was thrown. It inspired 3 books. The first one was 1,000 Fireflies, and this was actually written by Ryan, Tyler's brother. He said it was very cathartic for him to do this. So if you're going to read any of the books, I would start with that one, because that is his account. He talks a lot about his parents and their childhood growing up and really highlights that. And then just, I don't want to give away why it's called 1,000 Fireflies, but that's by his brother. And then there's another one called I Killed My Parents. And then another one that says, See How Much You Love Me. It inspired songs. The band Skinned, which we've talked about before, wrote a song. And if you don't know who they are, they take songs and they create it off crazy events, killers, stuff like that. And so they did a song about him. He's been interviewed on the Dr. Phil show. He's had so many stories written about him. ABC, the New York Times, Rolling Stones. Michael said... Sorry.
They're interviewing him? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or stories written about him,
okay,
yes.
But
he was interviewed on Dr. Phil, but the ABC, Rolling Stone, and New York Times were about this case, about him... Okay. Interviews with other people.
Okay.
Michael, the best friend that called, said in a 2020 ABC News article, "This has ruined my life. It's ruined Tyler's life. It ended his parents' life. I can't go to school without people saying that's Michael Mandel and relating me to something this sick. And that's what everyone knows me as, the best friend of a murderer." And so he struggles a lot with that because that's all people, even though he's the one that turned him in. He's the one that basically got him arrested. People still view him as the best friend. And then in April 2015, the Hadley house where the murders were committed was demolished because Ryan just couldn't. He couldn't deal with it. It wasn't a house that had good memories. So they just demolished it completely.
There were good memories, but
then, yes, the bad definitely outweighed.
You've just ruined it.
So Tyler is still in jail, and that's my story.
That was some shit. Yeah. Wow. So you're going to post photos. This was one of those that you just makes you feel like, man. I think what hits home is that his parents were so loving and really tried to get him help.
And in 2018, he was resentenced to life in prison. Like, anytime it comes up, he's always resentenced. Like, they're not going to let him out. Yeah. Good. But the last resentencing was 2018.
Okay, so we have another few years. But yeah, seriously, like, I feel bad for the state of his mind when he was a child. There was obviously something really big going on. But murder is not an option to solve those problems. So yeah, it's just that's crazy. That's wild that everyone stayed in the house. I want to see the crime scene photos because I can't imagine walking into a house.
You want to hear something really sick? So they're playing beer pong, right? And the ball falls off the table into the sticky brown stuff, which is blood. Like, either way, that's fucking gross, man. Like, the ball literally rolled into a pool of blood that spills. Like, they thought he was just a slob.
It's so funny because, like, when you hear a gunshot, have you fucking heard a car backfire? Like, that isn't the old cars around, but like a car backfiring, like, because your brain is saying that a gun doesn't make sense.
You're at a
blood
party.
Doesn't make sense.
You're at a party where people are telling you it smells like dead people. So it honestly has a smell.
But it doesn't
You've got
make
blood splatter.
Sense.
You've got a dude who's throwing the party going around telling you that he's killed his parents.
Yes, but it doesn't. They're children. It doesn't make sense to them.
I understand.
That is
but,
it.
Oh my
But
gosh,
they're
I just can't.
dum-dums. They're just dum-dums.
It would be one thing, except for the ones that beforehand said, "Yeah, you should kill them now."
Those
or
people,
like
those people are trash.
the ones that were interviewed after, who was like,
trash.
"I didn't know them. It doesn't matter to
Trash.
me."
Trash. Yes, trash.
And some of them did talk like that. That's why I was doing that.
I know you did that. I mean, God. You do the vocal fry. You should like
Oh my
totally
God,
kill
he
them
killed
already.
somebody.
You should kill them already.
Weird.
God.
What a
Yuck.
loser. Anyway.
Oh man, that was crazy. Well,
That's my story.
I'm going to do a crazy story next time.
Oh,
so, hey, thanks everybody for letting us take 2 weeks off. We had only planned to take a week off.
You almost took 3 off.
We almost took 3 off. We're making this week happen,
Yes.
We just have to do it. Life happens. Life happens. That's it. That's all we can tell you. That's all we can tell you. You got sick, I think. Yeah, you had a really bad cold.
I was really sick.
Couldn't talk. Yeah, so this would have sounded much
super
worse.
Bad migraine.
Oh shit. So glad it
all worked out.
worked out. All right, everybody. Well, we will see you next week. Until then, please don't kill your parents.
See something, say something. If someone tells you they killed someone,
something.
please tell somebody.
And don't look at our Google searches.
Yes, please don't.
Please don't do that. All right, everybody. We will see you next week. Bye.